after 4 years of PT. These are my core principles for training. So people come and they say they want to tone up. So you want to tone up from cardio. The spine is foundational. Everything that extends from there is secondary training. For the purpose of keeping function, you might do something in your back. Let's say you're rounding your spine, you're pushing down on your spinal cord. Over time, you're wearing down your discs. It's literally the core of you is around your spine. Strengthen everything around there and progressing on from there. The main ways I do that is through core training, glute training, shoulder blade. Increase your core stability to increase the symmetry, alignment in the body. So if this is tight, this relaxes. Your glutes is your support for your lower back from underneath. Yes, obviously the upper back is number one for up here. Posture just goes because the shoulder blades aren't strong. All your neurons, all your nerve cells flow through the spine. So people come and they say they want to tone up, but that means basically losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. It's body recomposition. So you want to tone up from cardio. Cardio, basically, you'll quickly adapt. Your body will adapt to the amount of energy output you expend, and then the cardio will stop working. Cardio is great for improving your heart health, but long term, it's weight is where you progress. And why everybody should do weights is because as we age, we lose muscle, and we don't lose muscle because we're aging. We lose muscle because we're not moving. So the number one thing to preserve is your muscle mass. So basically, the more muscle you have, the more calories you'll be burning even at rest, the more you can eat, and that's a life hack for life to keep you in shape. So muscle is like the organ of longevity. They say it's a glucose burner. So the more carbs and sugars you eat, the more inflammation you have in your body. The more muscle you have, the more you're actually allowed to have those carbs and sugars. However, obviously to a limit. So in general, anyone who has more muscle is more efficient at burning off energy. So they will stay fitter for life. Not to mention, if you ever have a fall in future, it's a muscle that will preserve you for life, and it's a muscle that will keep you vital. For example, you have a fall, you fall over when you're 50 or 55 or 60, then you're bedbound for a few weeks. You get weaker, more vulnerable, you can't look after yourself, you can't get up or walk around, and then you get even weaker, and then you become even more dependent on other people. So that's why people become, dependent on others. Obviously there's various reasons, but muscle loss and wastage is a big one for why we are wasting away as we age. So really important to keep the muscle up for various reasons. Dr. Gabrielle Reliance has a really good podcast about muscle being the organ of longevity. I would really recommend to listen to that. I don't look as training for fat loss so much. Like when you go to the gym, you go there to build muscle, you go there to build structure in your body, to increase your core stability, to increase the symmetry in your body. The main ways I do that is through core training, glute training, shoulder blades. Okay, so keep core is like number one, glutes is number two, and then shoulder blades is number three for me. So everything around the spine, that's your foundation, because from there all the limbs extend from there. Like let's say you have weak shoulder blades, okay, then you're lifting those shoulder blades up, you're not engaging your shoulder properly. For example, you're engaging your neck instead, you're compensating. Yeah, so if you're not engaging your core on your exercises as well, you're probably doing most of your leg exercises wrong too. You're putting unnecessary pressure on your lower back, because think about it, your core is like the opposite of your back. So if this is tight, this relaxes. Your glutes is your support for your lower back from underneath. So many people have back pain, but if you train your core, train your glutes, they're the main two things I find for injury prevention. Glutes also, keep your knees stable, right? And then train the shoulder blades, which will keep things symmetrical, not out of balance. So many injuries are prevented. So if you actually know how to train right, if you know how to keep your body symmetrical, if you know how to keep, let's say, your knees and toes aligned with your hips and your shoulders, engage in your core, like say I'm like that, but if I engage my core, engage my glutes, I come back to the center. So I'm not relying on one side more than the other, and I'm less likely to get out of balance in my body. And that's where pain comes on one side, because if you're just relying too much on one side, like you were standing like this all day, but when you go back to training and then you engage your core, you focus on single leg exercises, for example a reverse lunge if you're weaker on your left side, or a single arm ladder raise, focusing on those weaker sides plus engaging your core, so everything's balanced, and you slowly bringing the body back to center, back to balance, and over time you are reducing your pain, or you're preventing pain if you've not had it yet, thank God. So training, I look at training for the purpose of keeping functional, keeping strength, keeping structure, and that will keep us young long term. What happens to people over time, they go like this, you know, and their posture just goes weaker and weaker. Why is that? Because their shoulder blades aren't strong, their glutes, their core aren't strong, and they go like this. Obviously the upper back is number one for up here, but the lower back, it's the core and the glutes. Yeah, for me, my philosophy is all about training all around your spine. Then everything that extends from there is secondary, obviously, like shoulder press. If you don't have strong shoulder blades to keep your shoulders down, you're probably doing your shoulder presses wrong. If you don't have the core strength to engage your core on a hip thrust, you probably, or an RDL, you're probably doing your RDLs or leg exercises wrong, lunges wrong as well, because things will be out of balance. So these are my core principles for training, is training your glutes, your core, everything around the spine. All your neurons, all your nerve cells flow through the spine, and damage in your spinal cord can be so detrimental. Let's say you're rounding your spine, you're pushing down on your spinal cord, and you're doing that over time, over and over. You might not feel pain on that day, but over time you're wearing down your spinal cord, you know, discs, and then you'll get pain in your foot or your calf one day, and you'll be like, what's this from? And the likelihood of it coming from your spine is really high. Look, I'm not a physio, but obviously working with people over such a long time, I know now after 4 years of PT, after my own aches and pains here and there doing things wrong, I know what's important. Dropping the ego, dropping the weight, and actually focusing on those basics. Symmetry in the body, core, shoulder blades, chest out. Like so many people doing the rows like that, you know, yanking as much weight as possible, but what are they actually achieving? Like, will they have good posture when they're older, or will they just build some lats? You know, like I could start with wide grip overhand rows, focusing more so on the outside away from the inner spine. But if I'm weak here in my inner spine, that's why I'd always start with close grip. So if I'm teaching someone a lat pull down, I would normally start with a close grip to strengthen like inside, you know, from the inside, and then extend out to the overhand wide grip, right? Just much harder for most people, but if they start from within, you know, it's literally the core of you is around your spine. Strengthen everything around there, and progressing on from there will make things run smoother. So I have my kind of steps, and there's a reason behind the way I train people, and the spine is foundational. Sorry rambling, but I hope that helps someone.